we get to put up on YouTube. How awesome is that? Let's see, can we do this? All right. And they can see behind me. How are you?
Just in time.
You are right on time. Anywhere. Made it. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony Fontana, and you can see me in the background, so I think I'm going to end up moving here in a minute. But thanks a lot for coming and hanging out with us this evening to kind of get some questions answered from our current students who are out of state. We have them, they just got here. Just a bit of brief information about the College of Business if you haven't been able to visit. College of Business is actually a pretty small place, about 2,900 students. So a lot of your high schools will actually be bigger than the college experience. But then you also have the resources of U of I as a whole, which has about 42,000 students altogether. What's great is you're already in the College of Business. So you don't have to apply to anything else. You're part of the family. When you decide on your major, and we'll talk about this throughout the session, you just go click on a button and that's your major within the college. So I'm going to turn it over to these four students, and we got a pretty good spread from across the country. If you have questions at all, you can just throw them into the comment section there, and we're going to take it off. Stephanie, we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm a junior from New Jersey, majoring in accounting and finance.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a senior majoring in marketing and business process management from Pennsylvania.
Hi, my name is Frank. I'm a junior in accounting and finance, and I'm from California.
Hi, my name is Patrick Crowling. I am currently a junior. I'm studying supply chain management and marketing, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
All right, so I moved so you don't have to see me twice every time I talk. We have a few questions that people already submitted, so we're going to start with those, and then if you have additional stuff, just put them in whenever you have a second. So our first question is from a young lady from New Jersey, and she asked that if there are companies that recruit to go to New York City, and you know, what type of possibilities do you have? Maybe not just New York City, but can you go back to where you live to work? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's really possible. A lot of the companies do recruit for the New York office. I mean, my internship this summer is actually in New York. So if you just tell the recruiter, like, I'm from the New Jersey, New York area, and I'm looking for New York City, they can either place you there or put you in connection with someone who's from the New York office.
Have any of you three had any, have you tried to get internships? I know, Nikki, you're going to work full time. You're going to Chicago, though. Was that on purpose? Was it on just how it turned out, or what does that look like for you?
It was very on purpose. For Huron Consulting, you get 25 living locations, so you get to pick, and 2 of them were actually back home in Pennsylvania, but I just love the Midwest, so I decided to stay in Chicago.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and add in from my experience, and I'm interning this summer in Omaha, Nebraska, so not Texas or Illinois. But from my experience with talking with recruiters, if you sit down and you tell them, you know, where you want to work, then they'll do the best they can to set you up. And I think it's totally possible to work anywhere in the country if you really want to. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities in Chicago when you come to the University of Illinois. But if you want to work in New York or you want to work in California somewhere, there's plenty of opportunities. You just got to make sure that the recruiters know what you want to do, and they'll do a good job to set you up with what you need.
All right, I'm going to throw out the next one from Orange, Connecticut. How rigorous is your coursework in the College of Business, and what kind of free time do you have?
I guess going into accounting and finance, I mean, it's ranked #1 in 1 or 2, something like that, in the nation. But in all honesty, I feel like it's just any other coursework. As long as you work hard and you really manage your time well, it's just like any other sort of coursework you'll encounter. I think the one pitfall that we all sort of fell into starting freshman year is the idea that you have unlimited time to do whatever you want, and so some people sort of don't manage their time as well. I know I sort of had that bad habit, but I think if you manage your time particularly well, you'll find you'll have a lot of free time to do lots of really awesome things. So
yeah, I'll add on to that. I think part of being in the College of Business is that there's an expectation that you get involved in other organizations. So we all have our classes and we go to our classes, and yeah, there's time commitment to those classes, and you have to make sure you're doing well in all of those. But you're also expected to get involved, and professors understand that. So they're not going to overwhelm you with a lot of work. Yes, it's going to be a challenge, and you're going to have to work at it. But you're still expected to have that time to get involved in organizations, and you get a lot of great learning experiences from those organizations, in addition to the classwork that you get from your classes as well.
I guess I asked the next question because, is there actually time to do stuff outside, of the classes? So what are you maybe involved in briefly? Because I know maybe a few things. Pick like maybe two of the biggest things that you're involved with on campus.
I guess I'm part of the underwater hockey team here, and if you come to U of I guess you'll find out what that is. Basically, it's exactly as it sounds. It's hockey underwater. You have a lead puck that's on the bottom, and you have two teams that play to win. And I'm also part of this one consulting group. It's called IBC, Illinois Business Consulting, and I'm sure some of you guys. Basically, you apply and you go in, and it's a lot of fun. You get to interact with your client, and you do a lot of research and present a lot of your findings and provide advice to real businesses. And I always think that's a ton of fun. I'm also part of the German conversation table. So every Wednesday we sit down and have coffee discussing real world politics in German. So that's a ton of fun.
Yes, I'm also involved in another consulting group on campus. It's called Students Consulting for Nonprofit Organizations. Again, like everyone has kind of said, while your classwork you don't have class all the time, you're kind of expected to get involved in other things. And then I'm also outside of the College of Business, I'm part of the B2B tutoring program. So that's honestly mostly working with education majors and going to local schools and tutoring. And then I'm also a College of Business peer advisor.
I'm involved in one of the 4 business fraternities that we have here. So there's 4, and we also have business council, and I'm in Phi Gamma Nu. And with that, I've been involved in multiple different leadership roles. And I'm also involved in Enactus, which is an international organization, but our college chapter does a lot of environmental and sustainable activities.
So inside the College of Business, I'm also in a business fraternity. I'm in Phi Chi Theta, and I also am a teaching assistant for a class that if you choose to go attend the University of Illinois, you will all take, called Business 101. It is a class that dedicated to professional responsibility and ethics that every first semester freshman in the College of Business takes. It's a real valuable experience. It's led by students, so you're going to have upperclassmen there to kind of guide you through your college experience right from the get-go, which is really cool as a freshman. And then outside of the College of Business, I'm in a social fraternity, and I'm also in the Illini Railroad Club, which is one of those lesser-known RSOs on campus. So between those organizations, I stay pretty involved. I have leadership positions in all of them. But I still find time to do other things. I'm running a marathon this Saturday, so you still have free time to do other things as well.
So it's a really nice balance. I think business students at the College of Business are probably some of the best on campus of really managing the academic aspect of college, but also the social and extracurricular part of college. Because recruiters expect you to be more than just smart. They know you're going to be smart. They want you to make an impact when you go to work. So that's one of the things that they're looking for when they're looking at you for job shadows and internships and full-time offers. And I guess it kind of wraps in nicely with a lot of the other questions that we're seeing here. It's really about what sorts of job opportunities do you have? So one of the questions is looking at so what kind of companies are you seeing the big, huge investment banks here? Is it a lot of accounting firms? If you're a marketing major, what sorts of opportunities do you have? So maybe some of the big sexy names that are out there, and then some of the lesser known companies that might be here.
I would definitely say all of the above. We get a huge variety of employers here. So for marketing, we have companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola, as well as 3M. And I know for accounting and consulting, we have the Big Four, which includes Deloitte, KPMG, E&Y. So we just have a lot of opportunities here. And I think everyone can speak that you find your own niche at the career fair.
Yeah, I guess I'll add to that. From my experience, and I'm kind of different in that I came in and I knew I wanted to work for a railroad, and not very many. I mean, some students come in knowing what they want to do, but a lot of them have no idea. But I've always known that I wanted to work for a railroad, and I made that known to people when I came here. So the first time an opportunity came up for an internship for a railroad, I was the first person whose name was brought up, and that helped me get an internship as a sophomore, which can be challenging for a lot of students. So I think when you come here to the College of Business, you can literally do whatever you want. You just have to make it be known what you want to do. And other people will go out of their way to do what they can to hook you up with what you need in order to get to where you want to be.
I think in terms of like the investment banks, a lot of our finance students will decide to go the investment banking route. We don't necessarily see a heavy presence from like Goldman or Morgan Stanley on campus. We see a lot of JP Morgan. We'll have a few students every year go to Wall Street because that's something that they're really, really committed to doing and something they've always wanted to do. We'll have some students going up and do investment banks in the Chicagoland area. It just really depends on what you're looking for. There is no job that you cannot get from Illinois. So they might not recruit as hard down here as at a couple other schools, but you still have access and opportunity. And we have the largest alumni network in the country. So we have people working at all those firms that we can connect you with. Maybe what about like when do you start looking at internships? What does that process look like? Was it immediate? Was it you waited for a little bit? How did you guys do that part?
I mean, I think definitely it depends what your path is in the College of Business. So for me, like I plan on doing my my fifth year master's, so I'm staying 5 years total at U of I. So I started looking for an internship after my junior year, and then I mean there wasn't really much. I mean, like you said, it's kind of hard to find something after freshman year and sophomore year, but I mean you can definitely still go to the career fair freshman year and sophomore year and talk to recruiters and get your name out there. And once you keep meeting with these recruiters, they definitely recognize your face and it helps to get an internship later down the road.
Yeah, I would definitely add on to that and say that getting your face exposed to all these recruiters definitely does help. Throwing your resume out there. And I think, especially for the Big Four, I know they really like to see you grow, as in they see you walk in as a freshman, maybe you're not as well equipped, and then you come in as a sophomore and they see that you're making progress and that you're growing, and then they see as a junior. And I mean, at first I feel like I started out really slowly too. I wasn't really particularly involved in my freshman. I was more involved in academics and things like that, which is fine. But I mean, now I have internships lined up, which is great, and I really was kind of concerned maybe around sophomore year and beginning of junior year, slightly stressed too. But I mean, things will come your way if you take the initiative to go after them. And I can definitely speak from personal experience. Taking the initiative and being active, I think, is the most important thing you can learn, especially walking in as a freshman. You guys have a completely clean slate. You guys can start out and find your own little role in the College of Business and really make an impact.
Yeah, I think what else is nice is that the College of Business doesn't believe in free labor. So if you are doing an internship, you'll be getting paid for that internship. So on average, our students are making between $8,000 and $10,000 for a 10-week to a 12-week internship over the summer. So it's nice. You get to make some money as well. One of the questions that we have a few of is, how do you declare a major? Can you declare any major in the College of Business? What does that process look like? Do you declare your first day here? Can you change your mind? Talk about maybe how you decide any major or when, like what that process looks like.
I personally declared during my end of my sophomore year, and I declared into marketing, originally just marketing, and then within the business administration umbrella, I learned that you can double major very easily. So then I added international business, and then I quickly changed my mind into marketing and business process management. I'm still graduating on time. So you have a lot of flexibility in your schedule to do that, but you also get a chance to take those entry-level courses like entry-level accounting and finance and marketing to see where you really want to belong.
What did you have to do to actually pick your major? Like, did you go online? Did you walk into our office? What does it look like?
I know you have two options. You can go online or walk into the office. I personally just walked into the office, filled out a paper, and it was online the next day.
So you get about, what, 30 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah.
You literally go in there, you put your name and your student ID, and you check a box, and it's that easy.
Yeah, I think you can also even go online to like the STARS website and just declare your major and choose it on like a drop-down list.
And there's no quotas. There's no like maximum or minimum number of students that we can have in any major in the college. If everybody decides they want to be a finance major, then we're going to hire some more finance faculty. So it's really whatever you're interested in doing. The one major that you do have to apply for is supply chain management. That usually happens during your sophomore year. Supply chain management is within business administration, and the reason you need to apply is it's a newer program, and also a lot of students don't necessarily know what supply chain management entails. So the director of the program really wants to make sure that you're in it for the right reasons and looking for kind of the same outcomes, because there are a lot of pieces that are required for that major that aren't necessarily required for the rest of the majors within the college. But other than that, you click on anything and that's your major. And then when you change your mind, you'll click on that and then that's your major. It's actually quite easy.
And I'd just like to add on to that, you get a really good balance, especially when you start out in your freshman and sophomore year. You touch on classes like Business 101 and ACCE 201, 202, which is sort of like an introductory section, and then there's finance that you also have to take, and marketing, business law, business administration. So, I mean, you have a whole variety of different classes and scopes that you can touch on. And then I think people sort of fall into the pitfall where you have that tunnel vision, you specifically want something, and then they forget to sort of look at the whole picture and, get the value out of all the classes. I think personally it was just more of a rewarding experience to, check out everything and then decide what you're really passionate about and declare that major. And I mean, like Anthony said, everyone says it's super easy. You walk into an office, you fill out a slip of paper, check a box, say, oh, I'm going to be a marketing major or finance, accounting, whatever, and you're done.
And there's no minimum GPA. You have to keep a 2.0 GPA to be in good standing within the college, but there's no GPA minimums or requirements for any of the majors. I believe it's 3.25 when they're looking at the applications for supply chain management, but that's even kind of flexible. We got a question through the comment section. What about scholarship opportunities after you've been admitted? So have you all applied for scholarships since you've been in the college? What does that look like for you?
I mean, there's a lot of scholarships, not only within the College of Business, but also just at the University of Illinois. I know in the College of Business, there is College of Business scholarships you can apply for every year, I believe. Even outside of that, if you take the time to actually look, there's so many scholarships offered, like from the Student Affairs Office, just from like various organizations on campus. I think you just have, a lot of them you do have to take the initiative to look for them and you can apply.
And yeah, I mean, the dean, or the new dean, I believe, he sends out a sort of email beginning around actually it's recently passed for us, but near the ending of the school year, maybe around your freshman year, you'll get an email that says College of Business Scholarships application is now open, and you sort of fill out that application, you write several essays for whatever scholarships you're applying to, and then you submit it, and they sort of look at it, make their decision, and I think they get back to you in a pretty timely fashion, so you can plan for it as well.
I think for students this past year, we gave out about $1.2 or $1.3 million in scholarships, and that's, we have 2,900 students in the College of Business. I think about 20% of our students receive some sort of scholarship from the College of Business. I think about 75% of students in the college receive some sort of grant aid scholarship from the University of Illinois. So our students do have a pretty good funding. And I think the flip of that is there's the question of affordability, because we know that there's a big sticker that goes along with this. U of I's College of Business was just ranked #1 in the Big Ten for return on investment for both in-state and out-of-state students. So looking at graduation rates, the College of Business is #1 on campus for the percentage of students who are graduating, and that's in 4 years. So our students are doing really, really well graduation. On average, you're starting at about $56,000, $57,000 a year. And I think about 93% of our students who graduated in May had a full-time job within 3 months of graduation. So the outcomes tend to be pretty strong as well. Let's talk real quick about other things outside of the College of Business. So are any of you doing minors in anything? What are your minors in?
My minor's in communication, basically because I loved Com 101. We take that freshman year, and I just stemmed off of that to learn more about it.
Is it common to do computer science or technology and management type of minor? do you have friends doing that? Do you want to do that? Like, what have you heard about those areas?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go for this one. I'm not personally in the technology and management minor, but it's a really popular minor within the College of Business. What it is, basically, it's a blend of business and engineering. So as a business student, and you apply for this your sophomore year, you'll have the opportunity to take engineering classes and get to know engineers to kind of see that side of business. Because, yeah, as a business major, you're going to be in charge of kind of, depending on what you do, the finances behind things or the accounting behind things. But every company, for the most part, is going to need engineers. So this gives you an opportunity to see kind of what the engineers do. So that's a real popular minor in the College of Business. And something that a lot of my friends are doing, and I kind of wish I had done it now, but you make mistakes and you learn from them.
I mean, adding on to that, I'm taking computer science classes from the degree. However, I'm not declaring a minor. I'm just sort of doing that to get a good general grasp of, a little bit taste of computer science. Because looking at the degree requirements for the minor, I don't think I'll be able to finish it in time, because I looked at it so late. But I think it's still a good idea, and they generally don't lock you out. Initially, there will be sort of a reservation that they make for students specifically in that major, so it's more convenient for them, and you don't block them out because there's limited space. But after that, there's generally a lot of space, and most of these classes aren't filled, and you can enroll and check out whatever you're really particularly passionate about.
One of the other questions was regarding our the dorms. So where did you guys live freshman year? Did you live in university campus? In university housing? Did you live in private certified housing? And did you get kind of what you were hoping to get when you applied for that?
I lived in university housing, so I mean, I think they're both good experiences. I know freshman year you have to live in either university housing or private housing. But I mean, it's coming in freshman year. I mean, I know I didn't know anyone. I mean, just being able to meet so many different people in the dorms is really fun. It's definitely, for someone coming out of state, like, that's the one time that you can go talk to anyone and meet new people, and definitely just be outgoing.
Yeah, going off of her, I also lived in university housing. I actually lived in an all-girls dorm, and I wasn't hoping to live in an all-girls dorm, but it was still a good experience. And I actually ended up working there as a multicultural advocate the next year. So I really like the university housing system. I would actually advocate for the food plan, because you get to go eat different types of food by building, which will give you variety throughout the year.
I mean, yeah, I also lived in a residential hall. I think it's being torn down to build a more awesome set of residence halls. So, I mean, granted, there's a lot of different options that you could choose from, and they're generally very comfortable. They try to do whatever they can to make life a lot easier, and they set up a bunch of really fun programs. The RAs and multicultural advocates, they set up a bunch of really cool programs that make sure that, life is going well for you. It's also a ton of fun. Meeting a lot of new different kinds of people. It's sort of that springboard from which you see a lot of old friends later on in later years. Like, I just ran into a friend that I met in freshman year from my residence hall, and we caught up. It was very cool. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good experience overall too.
Yeah, I mean, they've pretty much said it all. I lived in a residence or university housing too. My dorm was a little more on the quiet side, which was a little tougher as an out-of-state student because I didn't know anyone. But as long as you get involved in organizations, then you're going to have no problem making friends right off the bat. So I got involved right when I got here, and I advise all of you to do the same, no matter where you go, to get involved right away, because that's the best way to meet people.
How do you guys get back home? What does that process look like?
I mean, getting back home to New Jersey, I typically there's two main bus services, Urbana Shuttle and Imperial Charter, that go straight to the airports, and then I just fly home. Or, I mean, you'll meet a ton of people from the suburbs, and they likely can also give you a ride to the airport, which is really convenient.
Yeah, I take the Amtrak to Chicago O'Hare and fly home.
Same here. And I guess the one thing that you should keep in mind when you're moving out is that when you make a lot of really good friends, especially in-state friends, you can sort of store stuff with them over the summer and then just keep in touch and call them up at the end of the summer. Hey, you have my set of whatever, TVs, chairs, whatever. And well, I'm speaking from personal experience, obviously, but yeah, I think it's generally very convenient. I do the same. Take a bus up and take a flight home, and it's really easy.
Yeah, around campus, we have a really well-funded bus system, and the buses pretty much go anywhere. So you can, if you don't have a car here, and I didn't have a car my freshman or sophomore year, the buses will take you pretty much anywhere you need to go. As long as it's warm outside, a bicycle is a great way to get around. You can get it pretty much anywhere on a bike and from campus within 10 minutes easily. I also walk to a lot of my classes. Everything's pretty close together. In terms of getting home, there's an airport here in Champaign that has a nonstop flight to Dallas, which is nice for me. But I'll still fly out of Chicago or St. Louis pretty frequently. I'll take a bus or a train, whatever's the most convenient, and go through the airports there.
So we'll touch on the elephant in the room, and that is the weather during the winter. I know this was a rough winter. I've been in the Midwest for 30 years, and it was the worst one I saw. They're saying it's a 100-year winter, so hopefully we don't have to deal with this again. But how did you deal with it? What were your kind of, especially, you're from California, from Dallas. How did you deal with this stuff?
I guess bundle up. I mean, and looking back, it wasn't that bad, and it gradually got better. But definitely advisable not to take any risks. So, I mean, if it's winter and the sun's out, don't be deceived. Put on the gloves. Really take the time to stay warm. And I don't think there's anything else really difficult apart from that. I came back home over winter break, and it was like 70-degree weather the entire winter. And then I come back, and it's -10. So you can imagine how I felt. But overall, it's not that much of a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely doable. This winter is the coldest winter I've ever experienced in my life. But it's over now, so that's nice. It's as long as you bring a jacket, you can get through it. I mean, a heavy jacket, obviously, but it's not something that I think that should deter you from coming to Illinois. I mean, Dallas is warm for the most part, but you get used to it, and you still have opportunities to do a lot of things. Like hockey was never big in Texas, but there's something else you can do here. People do cross-country skiing, or other new opportunities that you can do in the cold weather that I wasn't used to back in the South. So yeah, I like the warm weather. The warm weather is nice, but I don't think the weather is something that should deter you from making your college decision, because I think coming to Illinois, and despite the weather, gave me the best opportunity in terms of my education and career after education. There's not a doubt in my mind that Illinois was the #1 choice for me, despite having to put up with the long winters.
And it's like 70 degrees outside today, and it has been for the last, I think it's 75 and sunny all weekend. So it's not like this it's not cold all year round.
Yeah, and the first semester is pretty easy too, because it doesn't really get cold until like finals week. And then if you're from a warm weather area, you go home for a whole month. So the only time it's really ever cold is like February, March, and then half of April. So you get to miss out on a lot of the winter from winter break and going home.
And honestly, it doesn't really dampen your experience, because most of the housing is on campus or very central. I walk to class every day, and I live very central, so it's easy to get to Biff or the quad. And there's so many fun activities that people randomly do. There's like pick-up snowball fights we have multiple quads, and there are multitudes of snowmen built. And it's just a really fun experience, even though it's winter. So there's definitely things to do.
So we got the worth it question. Is your education worth it at Illinois? And this is really about anywhere. So we had two questions kind of back to back. Looking at $48,000 a year to come to Illinois. Maybe what are your thoughts on the investment piece? And we're not financial advisors here, so that's definitely one piece to look at. But when you were making the financial decision about this, what did you think about, and what kind of other opportunities did you have?
I was going to go to UCLA studying French literature. So, I mean, UCLA is a great school. If you guys are going there, congrats. It was really tough this year. But, I mean, ultimately for me, it was more something like, well, I mean, this is a depressed economy. I want to look for something that's a bit more practical. And I know saying it somewhat Philistine now, but when I'm looking back and, I'm studying literature, obviously I'm very passionate about it, but it's not going to give me the most bang for my buck. And I think overall I had a great experience just to really watching myself grow and develop over the course of the past 3 years. I mean, you pick up so many different skills as well, and you have this really distinct, exciting experience. And at the same time, you make a ton of great new friends, and I don't think I trade any less money to go make the friends I have here. And overall, I mean, when you have the prospect of, having great jobs, having a great overall college experience, I think it's definitely worth it. And I was one of those who was considering, staying in state, but Anthony persuaded me otherwise. So,
yeah, I was down to here at Illinois and the University of Texas, and I obviously made the decision to come here, and I think absolutely it was the best choice in terms of my education. I was able to get a job or an internship with my dream company as a sophomore. I'm going back again there this summer, and I hope to have a full-time offer at the end of my senior year. But there's so many opportunities here, and luckily I was able to get some scholarship money through the College of Business, which helped out. But there's so many opportunities here, and just leaving your home and going to a new state is such a great learning experience. I've gained a lot of self-confidence from that, and it's something that it's just because when I came in here and all three of these other students were the same and that we didn't know anyone, and so it was such a great opportunity for personal growth and development, and you have to go out of your comfort zone and get to meet new people and get involved, and you start from a blank slate, and that's a really cool experience that I think has helped me grow as a person.
I think as a senior, I can answer this like how I made the decision 4 years ago and what I think about it now. I think 4 years ago I got to visit, and I was really lucky for that. And I really noticed the community, not only at University of Illinois as a whole, but definitely when you walk into this building, you feel the community, whether it's by meeting the deans, talking to Anthony, or anyone. You just know that everyone's here to make your experience worthwhile and help you get where you want to be. And I can honestly say all of that, those thoughts are completely true. And I had a full-time job offer, the one I wanted, by mid-October of my senior year. So I can definitely say it's worth the money to come here when you have the largest alumni network and incredible business career services that'll do anything to get you where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think they all three kind of touched on a lot of the reasons why I chose to come to Illinois. I mean, even for me, I had two older sisters who were ahead of me, and I was always known as their sister, and I just wanted to kind of start over with a blank slate. Definitely pushes you out of your comfort zone, but a lot of great personal growth, and like they've all said, the opportunities here are endless, and the College of Business is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that you end up where you want to be. There's so many companies that recruit here, so many different paths that you can take, and there's so many people that you can turn to for help that I definitely think it's worth it.
So a couple other things, because again, we definitely are not financial advisors. So one, there's definitely a piece of this that, sitting down with you, your parents, understanding, what kind of investment you're looking to make is really important, because you might have to pay, if you're looking at a full ride one place in Illinois, that might look one way, but if it's a $5,000 difference, it looks a little bit different. I think when you start looking at the data of the graduating students from the College of Business at Illinois, overwhelmingly they're doing very well in terms of the average debt they have when they're leaving. It's fairly reasonable. The graduation rates are very high. So the degree that you go into tends to be the degree program that you stay in, and what you get a job in that field that pays you quite well. So our business students tend to pay off their loans quite quickly. U of I as a whole is the #3 recruited from university in the country. So you can come here as a company and get the best engineers in the world, some of the best business students in the world, great students in liberal arts and sciences and humanities. So it's really a great place for companies to come. We have Research Park, which is on campus, which if you're interested in doing research for companies, looking at big data, there are, you can get jobs there that are paying you $15 to $17 an hour. Internships over the summer help offset some of those costs. So there are ways to make it more affordable, along with the scholarships that the college is able to offer that help you out in the long run. If it's a place that you really want to be, there are ways to do that. But at the end of the day, it is a very important decision between, you and the debt that you're willing to take on and what sorts of opportunities that you'll have with that. All right, we don't have any other questions up right now. What would be maybe one piece of advice that you would give students, coming in, either making the college decision choice, or once they get to college, what's the one thing they have to know?
I would say get involved from the start. If you choose to come to Illinois with this great thing called Quad Day, which is a day or two before classes start, I can't exactly remember, but every single organization, for the most part on campus, sets up a booth on our main quad, and you can walk around. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of these booths and people giving out food and all kinds of candy and free stuff. And you just go around and you can check out all the organizations, and there's everything from like underwater hockey to I'm in a railroad club, just like there's a squirrel watching club. There's all kinds of things that you are just like, I had no idea this existed. And I mean, everything from sports to fraternities, business fraternities, more professional oriented one, political groups, everything you could possibly imagine there's an organization for. So walk around and sign up for a lot of those and get involved in 1, 2, or 3 right off from the bat. And that's, like I said earlier, that's a great way to get to know people and set a nice foundation for your time here.
Just one thing I think is going in as a freshman, like we said, none of us really knew each other, and one of the big things was definitely putting yourself out there. We all came in out-of-state students, so we had to make friends, we had to meet people. Don't be afraid to go knock on someone's door if the door's, if you're in your hall freshman year and people seem like they know each other, don't be afraid to just go up and talk to people, because everyone is looking to meet new people and looking for new experiences. So definitely don't let anything stop you. I think another thing is, if you do choose to come to the University of Illinois, also take advantage of all the resources in the College of Business. So a lot of the stuff they offer, like business career services, all the different advisors, all the different people here, every student has their own experience, and everyone that you talk to can probably give you a piece of advice, whether it's about classes, what organizations to join, how to find an internship, how to decide between internships. Everyone is willing to help anyone, so don't be afraid to ask questions, and definitely take advantage of everything that there is to offer here.
Piggybacking off of what she said, I would definitely say you're already stepping out of your comfort zone, so wherever you go, which is out of state, definitely try something new, whether it's running the Illinois Marathon or going to a barn dance, which only happens in the Midwest. So just try something new wherever you are.
Yeah, I guess everyone's already sort of summarized it up for me. I think definitely feeling comfortable approaching people is very difficult, but simply just constantly approaching, because I think one of the greatest characteristics about especially just people here in the Midwest is that everyone is so open-minded and so willing to listen to what you have to say, and you should never feel like whatever input you have or whatever you have to offer isn't enough, because I think ultimately everyone is looking to improve and just looking to meet new people. And I think having that sort of confidence, or at least building up that confidence, because I know I didn't have it when I first walked in, is definitely very rewarding a process to have. So
one recommendation that I gave you, and the students taught me this, was on Quad Day, before you go to Quad Day, make another email account, make a Gmail account that you're going to give out, because you'll get emails from those organizations for the rest of your time here. So all those organizations that you put your email address on, you're going to get emails from them, probably weekly, monthly. So create another account, because that will save your inbox. So when you want to go check it and see what's going on, you can do that. But otherwise, your email just gets bombarded. We got a couple more questions that just came in. Maybe ballpark it for us. What kind of debt are you looking at leaving Illinois with? Give us a range. We're not going to ask you like exact number.
I'm lucky enough that my parents are able to cover the cost of my education, and also was lucky enough to get some money from Illinois as well.
Okay, so you're not leaving with too much here really at all?
No.
Okay.
Seconding that, same situation.
No debt.
Yeah, between the scholarships and luckily my parents covered part of the cost of it. Yeah, there's not all that, not in too bad of a hole.
I think the average student leaves with like $23,000, $23,000 to $27,000 worth of debt from the College of Business. And what does your average day look like? If you can even give us an average, like what does the day-to-day look like?
Honestly, as a junior, I think it's safe to say that I only really have like 2-3 classes a day. I mean, I'm taking like 18 hours, but one nice thing about the College of Business is once you start taking your major classes, you don't have class on Friday, which freshman year you will have a lot of classes on Friday because you will have a lot of discussions. But like for me, I'll have maybe 2-3 classes a day. A lot of group projects that you have to work on, and then I think most of us are involved, so we probably have meetings for organizations.
I mean, I'm a sort of a morning person, so I like to knock everything out in the morning. So classes generally start from 8 a.m. and wrap at around 11 to 12, and the rest of the day should be free, but group meetings, work, group commitments, they generally take up it's sort of a balance between, finding what, like I said, don't overcommit yourself, but definitely find things that you really care about, that you're willing to take the time out of your life, daily life to go after.
Frank isn't necessarily the norm for college students, because when you get to college, like 8 a.m. is really feels like 5 a.m. So Frank is definitely, being a morning person can have some significant advantages in college.
Yeah, there are literally no 2 days that are the same. For me, I'm involved in a lot of things, and so there are a lot of days where I'm just running from one thing to the next. I got a meeting here, and I got to fill out some application for this, and then I got to go to class and all this thing. So it keeps it really interesting. There's always something that I'm doing, and it keeps me focused and motivated.
Pretty much the same all across the board. I could touch on like interview season. My schedule is pretty much, I'm not like Frank, I'm a midday kind of a girl, so most of my classes are blocked in the middle chunk of the day. So most of my interviews would be in the morning, so get up early, go to my interview, go to class, and then get an opportunity to change before I go on with my daily activities. The great thing about getting involved at U of I is that your schedule is pretty organized, I would say, but you have a lot of different opportunities to do a lot of different things every day. So that's why I think we all agree that all of our days are very different.
Very cool. How many AP credits did you guys have coming into Illinois? And how did those work for you?
I personally didn't come in with a lot, but it was still very easy to take the courses I want, double major with a minor, and graduate on time.
I've heard horror stories where a person walks in with like 88 credit hours and is like a senior in freshman year. I walked in with a decent amount, I think. I think I was maybe a sophomore or junior by the end of my freshman year, something like that. And some people really gauge it, but it's not really a big deal. We're all in the same year because you have to finish up your degrees. So ultimately, whether or not you're walking in with no AP credit or you're walking in with like 80 credit hours already, I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. It's just several gen eds here or there.
Yeah, I agree with Frank. And I came in as a sophomore. I was still a freshman, and I was still with the freshman class, even though I was academically a sophomore. But I'm still graduating in 4 years because a lot of those credits do go to gen eds, and you still need to take your core classes. And I mean, I could have graduated early, but I loved my time here, and I wouldn't trade it for. I mean, as much as I loved my internship opportunity this past summer, I want to take advantage of this time that I have now with all this free time that I'm able to do a lot of great things. So I wanted to stay here for all 4 years, and you still have to take all those classes you need for your major, and it also gave me an opportunity to do 2 majors. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you come in with no credit hours. I know a guy who came in with 72 hours. I mean, we're all in the same boat. It's not a huge thing. You still can graduate in 4 years or less if you really want to.
Yeah, I think unless you really come in with like econ or stats, most of the AP credits that you will have will cover general education courses. So you'll still be kind of in the same line with most freshmen because you'll have to take all the business core classes.
I think the average business student comes in with like 9 to 15 credit hours. And if you come in with 0, you're going to graduate in 4 years. And if you come in with 70, I mean, you can do double majors, dual degrees, you can study abroad more. You can kind of do, just a lot more stuff during that time. But if you go to admissions.illinois.edu and in their search bar type in AP credits, it will show you exactly what score you need and how those classes will come in. And you have my contact information. So if you want to see like, hey, what general education requirements will this take care of? How will this help me with the business core? Just shoot me an email and I'm really happy to help you with that stuff. It seems like that's about all the questions that we have for tonight. So I want to thank our students for helping out. Thank you guys at home for sticking around with us, watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And hopefully we will see you here in August at Illinois. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that accept button within your application, and we will see you soon. Take care. Just make sure this thing goes off.
So it's like delayed.
Yeah, it's like 45 seconds. And we're still going, somehow.
Is there a second window open, like when you go over the Chrome button?
At the bottom.
Yeah.